I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow. Throughout her life,
An internal revelation from within the royal family has left the global media in utter shock during what was believed to be a private family meeting. Prince William unexpectedly presented a DNA test result concerning the two children, Archie and Lilibet, the son and daughter of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The moment the document was read aloud, King Charles collapsed on the spot. Not a single word was spoken. His personal physician was summoned urgently, and as of the latest confirmation, the king has yet to regain consciousness. So what kind of truth could bring down a monarch, a man who has already endured the death of his former wife, the seismic scandals that shook the royal house, and even the departure of his own son? If it wasn't simply due to overwhelming shock, could it have been a truth so terrifying, so profoundly devastating, that it defied acceptance? And if that truth is indeed real, then who orchestrated an entire charade so masterfully hidden for years without anyone ever knowing? Part 1, the family meeting rewritten. That day at Windsor, no official ceremonies took place. A special meeting was held in absolute secrecy, confined to a closed room with a tightly controlled guest list. Prince William and Princess Kate Middleton, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, two senior royal advisors, and Sir Alistair Fernwick, the king's personal physician, who had monitored Charles's health since his days as Prince of Wales. No reporters, no royal aides. The only individuals permitted to carry electronic devices were William and his security advisor, but both had switched their phones to airplane mode prior to the meeting. This led many to ask, why would a family meeting require such an intense level of confidentiality? Tension was visibly etched on everyone's faces, especially William's, who was said to have initiated the meeting after quietly gathering data and conducting independent verification over an extended period. He brought with him a thick envelope sealed not with the royal crest, but with the insignia of a private DNA testing laboratory based in California, USA. According to internal sources, this facility did not belong to the royal healthcare system nor to any UK government entity, but was an independent organization specializing in legal and paternity disputes. The question immediately arose: why would William, a man known for strictly adhering to royal protocol, choose to conduct such a sensitive test in secret and in the United States no less? More critically, how did he obtain the biological samples of the two children? The source did not disclose the exact method of collection, but hinted that the samples might have been obtained unofficially from strands of hair, toothbrushes, or personal items during the family's visit to the UK for the Platinum Jubilee. While potentially controversial from a legal standpoint, it appeared that for William, the truth outweighed procedural concerns. When the documents were finally opened, the room fell into complete silence. William did not read the contents aloud. Instead, he passed a copy to each attendee. When it reached King Charles, he read every line with close attention. No one outside that room knows exactly what the document said, but according to one witness, when the king finished reading, he gently placed a hand on his forehead, stared blankly at Meghan, and collapsed onto the cold stone floor. Chaos broke out immediately. Meghan stood up, her hands trembling uncontrollably. Harry stood frozen. In the words of one advisor, he neither approached his father nor spoke a word to his wife. William quickly signaled the doctor to act, while Kate clutched Meghan tightly, though she too could not hide her own shock. From that moment on, this was no longer just a family meeting. A father, a grandfather, and most of all, a king had fallen not to illness, not to age, but to a truth so devastating that it shook the very bloodline he had protected for over 7 decades. A source inside the palace revealed the king is not someone easily swayed by emotion. He survived the grief of losing Princess Diana, relentless media attacks, and even scandals involving his own brother. But that day, it was as if something at his very core had been shattered. Given today's highly sensitive media and political landscape, King Charles's collapse was more than just an emotional breakdown. It was a stark warning of cracks forming within the foundation of Britain's constitutional monarchy. He understood that an abnormal DNA result wouldn't merely damage the royal family's image, it could potentially jeopardize the legitimacy of the entire line of succession. For the remainder of the meeting, Meghan remained completely silent. She offered no denial, no confirmation. Not a single word. This only thickened the tension in the room. If she were innocent, why not speak if she had known why? Allow it to unfold in such a cruel manner. And Harry, the one long branded as the rebellious son, also remained silent. That silence led many to speculate. Had he known all along, or was he just another pawn in a much larger game? One that Meghan was quietly orchestrating from the shadows. The meeting ended when William signaled it was over. He offered no reproach to his brother, nor did he confront Meghan. He simply requested that everyone leave and strictly maintain silence. The explanation will come at the right time, he said. But for now, my father needs to live. No one outside knows what unfolded behind that closed door. But just hours later, all royal activities were suspended. The week's scheduled events were canceled. Buckingham Palace was sealed off from the press. Advisors immediately purged all data related to the DNA results from the system's records. The public continues to ask, within that room of just 8 people, what truly happened. Who holds the truth? Who is deliberately hiding it? And if no one dares to speak, how long before the British people are told the answer to what should be a simple question? Are those 2 children truly of royal blood, or are they merely symbols of a deception that has quietly existed for years? Part 2, the words that shook the royal family. Shortly after that highly secret family meeting, the first signs of leaks began to surface. Despite the royal family's vigorous efforts to contain what had happened, a few investigative reporters from renowned outlets known for their coverage of the monarchy, such as the Times Daily Mail and the Telegraph, started receiving anonymous messages. From these, a rough picture emerged of the contents of the explosive DNA report that shook the palace. According to a reliable insider source within the Royal Advisory Team, the test results were produced by a private genetic analysis center based in California, USA, an institution said to possess cutting-edge technology capable of establishing paternity relationships with up to 99.99% accuracy. Yet what caused the real shock was not the report's reliability, but the chilling and brutally brief conclusion clearly stated at the end of the document, inconclusive with high anomaly. Explaining this term, a researcher at the London Genomics Institute said that it is how top-tier labs denote when test results neither confirm paternity conclusively nor entirely rule it out, falling into a kind of genetic gray area. Put simply, the genetic link between Prince Harry and one of the 2 children, presumably Archie or Lilibet, is in a state of ambiguity. It is not outright denial, but it is also not solid enough to definitively establish a father-child relationship. In the context of a royal family like Britain's, where every millimeter of lineage is meticulously scrutinized, this scenario is virtually unprecedented. So where does the problem lie? Early analysis, apparently based on leaked portions of the DNA data, suggested abnormal patterns in the STR short tandem repeat markers, which are crucial to determining biological relationships. Normally, a father-child test requires 12 to 15 matching loci. In this case, only 6 loci matched, and notably 2 of those belong to a rare genetic group not commonly found in Europe. This may seem complex from a genetic standpoint, but the conclusion is as clear as a knife's edge. There is a real possibility that one of the children does not share a direct biological relationship with Prince Harry. What makes this even more remarkable is that Meghan, who has always been vocally strong about her children's royal status, has repeatedly asserted that both Archie and Lilibet carry royal blood, and therefore deserve recognition and respect. In her 2021 interview with Oprah, she affirmed Archie has a right to know who he is. "My son is part of the royal family. He is their blood." Yet if everything is as she claimed, why did Meghan reject every official request from the royal family to conduct DNA testing as soon as the child was born? An insider, someone who previously worked at the Montecito residence, shared by Meghan and Harry, revealed that there was indeed an offer from the Royal Medical Advisory Team to collect DNA samples to update the line of succession records. However, this request was flatly declined on the grounds that it would be an invasion of a minor's privacy. That refusal has sparked numerous theories. The first and most widespread theory suggests that Meghan may have used a surrogate without informing the royal family. Legally, this is permissible, but if it was concealed, it poses a serious challenge to royal succession law and royal ethical traditions where lineage must pass through the biological mother. The second theory is even more sensitive, that Meghan had another relationship prior to Harry, and it's possible that one of the children was fathered by someone else. During the early stages of Meghan's relationship with Harry, she was known for maintaining strict privacy. Most personal information about her came from tabloid reports, but if a previous relationship was more significant than publicly acknowledged, the resulting genetic discrepancies could have a factual basis. Of course, these remain unproven conjectures in the absence of hard evidence. To date, neither the royal family nor Meghan has released any official statements. What makes this even more unpredictable is Meghan's continued silence, especially in contrast to her previous willingness to voice her opinions, refute accusations, and criticize the monarchy through all media platforms available to her. A communications expert who formerly worked with the BBC observed Meghan's behavior this time is unlike anything before. No official declaration, no videos to counter the claims, no blame articles. That silence can only mean one of two things: she is quietly preparing a powerful counterstrike, or she has nothing left to say because everything has become too obvious. Even within royal circles, fractures are beginning to show. A group of advisors close to William insists that the test results should be publicly released to end all doubt and stop circulating rumors. Meanwhile, another faction believed to have ties to government officials fears that the fallout could severely damage the royal family's standing amid the fragile politics of the post-Brexit era. Part 3. What is Meghan Markle really hiding? From the moment Meghan Markle officially entered the British royal family, public opinion divided sharply into two camps. On one hand, she was seen as a symbol of a modernizing Britain, the first woman of color to marry a senior royal. On the other, critics viewed her as an outsider who struggled to adapt to court traditions and often clashed with customs rooted in centuries of history. Few could have imagined that within just a few short years, Meghan would become the center of the most serious paternity crisis in the modern history of the House of Windsor. So who is Meghan really? Is she a wife caught in a toxic environment, or is she a calculated media strategist who has quietly pushed the royal family onto the defensive? It must be noted that Meghan was never a typical princess. With her Hollywood background, she had already mastered image building from her time acting on Suits. She understood how to capture public attention, choose the right moment to speak up, and leverage every opportunity to share her story globally. Her bombshell 2021 interview with Oprah drew 17.1 million viewers in the US alone, according to Nielsen. In that moment, Meghan and Harry not only revealed their pain, they turned it into a powerful declaration. Millions around the world felt moved, outraged, and empathetic. However, one notable tactic stands out. Meghan often chooses emotional response instead of factual evidence. Every time she's embroiled in controversy, whether it's losing titles, losing security, or accusing the royal family of racism, she emphasizes feelings of isolation, pain, and fear, but offers no concrete documentation. In today's media landscape, this is a risky yet highly effective strategy, tapping emotions to obscure key factual details. That has led many experts to wonder, does Meghan genuinely want to be part of the royal family? Or did she see it from the start as a stepping stone to global influence? After stepping back from royal duties, Meghan and Harry signed a series of lucrative deals. A Netflix agreement worth more than $100 million to produce exclusive content, a Spotify podcast, a memoir, a fashion brand, even ventures into wellness, the common thread. They position themselves as victims of both the royal family and British press. A life built on the image of woundedness, amplified and monetized on a global scale. Which raises the question, if someone is willing to exploit every personal fracture for media impact, might they also be motivated to conceal a greater truth, such as the real paternity of their children? Many are beginning to ask, could the DNA crisis have been no accident, but rather the result of a strategic image campaign that unfolded over years? If Meghan knew one of her children was not biologically Harry's, why did she continue to insist upon princely or princess privileges for Archie and Lilibet? Why push for their place in the line of succession, a system fundamentally based on unquestioned bloodline? A royal communications expert observed, Meghan understands the rules of the game. She's no naive player. She knows exactly what His Royal Highness means and the criteria it implies. If she continued to demand those privileges while knowing the truth, this is more than a moral failure, it could legally amount to fraud. Leaked documents, reportedly from lawyers advising the royal household, show they had requested birth certificates and medical records for the two children since Meghan gave birth in the U.S. Meghan's response was vague, citing California's strict medical privacy laws. Many find this detail suspicious if nothing is amiss. Why hide? It's also worth noting Meghan has frequently accused the press of defamation, but even when she gained access to major media platforms, Netflix collaborations, global headlines, she never once addressed the question of DNA testing, even though she must have known it was a simmering topic within the royal circle. Why dodge the issue? To avoid public confrontation? Or because once the truth came out, everything might collapse? A media psychology specialist explained Meghan's strategy isn't denial. It's dilution, drawing public focus to broader, deeply compelling issues like racism, feminism, mental health. Those are important topics, but they also effectively distract from the single question that demands an answer. Who is the true biological father of these children? As the role of the Duchess of Sussex fades as her anchor, Meghan has recast herself as a businesswoman, content producer, and social activist. But no matter how glamorous this new image may be, unresolved past issues will always fuel suspicion. And if the paternity truth is ever publicly revealed, not only the royal honor, but the entire post-royal empire Meghan has built could crumble. So the final question is not just, what is Meghan hiding? It's, is she willing to sacrifice everything she has built, her media empire, to defend one core truth, if that truth proves she has deceived everyone? Part 4, Harry on the edge of losing everything. The moment King Charles collapsed in the middle of the meeting room, everyone reacted instinctively. Meghan recoiled. Kate rushed forward to catch her father-in-law, and the doctor immediately began emergency intervention. But the person who aroused the most curiosity was Prince Harry. He did absolutely nothing. He stood motionless, saying not a word. He did not ask his wife, nor did he look at his brother. According to a witness present, Harry stood there as if turned to stone, as though nothing could surprise him anymore. And precisely that motionlessness revealed a deeper layer to the entire story. Could it be that Harry had known about the DNA test results all along? If he did know, why did he show no reaction? If he didn't, then what would explain his complete lack of confusion, pain, or outrage emotions he usually displays when the family is hurt? Until now, Harry had always stepped up to defend Meghan whenever she was attacked. He accepted losing titles, severing ties with his family, leaving England, and cutting off relations with the royal family, all to protect his wife. But this time, when the issue was personal, touching on his own honor and bloodline, he fell terrifyingly silent. Royal family psychological experts, including Dr. Judith Crane, who has collaborated with British media, suggested this was not an immediate shock. It looks like the emotional state of someone who had already prepared mentally for it but could not speak. It's possible Harry had suspected it for a long time, or at least had a hunch, and when that result was revealed, his deepest fear became reality. A few sources close to Harry's former advisory team shared that when Meghan was expecting their first child and they were still in England, Harry had proactively requested a paternity test because something didn't feel right. However, that request was quickly deferred due to the political sensitivity within the family. Since the couple stepped back from royal duties, there has been no indication that Harry continued to pursue it. So if he once suspected, why didn't he follow through? Another hypothesis raised by investigative journalists is that Harry may be not only a victim, but also complicit, not because he accepted the deception, but because he had no other choice. After stepping away from the royal family, Harry lost not just status and privileges, but also legal access to vital information. He became entirely dependent on Meghan financially in terms of residence legal counsel and media narrative. If the truth emerged, he would not only lose his family, his home, but also the public image he had painstakingly built over nearly a decade, that of a devoted father and loyal husband. In his interview with Anderson Cooper at the start of 2023, Harry stated, "The most important thing for me is protecting my immediate family. I don't want my children to go through what I did." But if one of those children is not biologically his, then what exactly is he trying to protect? A real family? Or just an illusion constructed from guilt and fear of abandonment? In the days following that meeting, Harry did not appear alongside Meghan. No photographs captured the two together within 48 hours, and the couple who normally reacts swiftly to negative news released no statements. Even the U.S. media, never shy about royal scandals, fell into a bizarre silence. A veteran CNN journalist commented, "Both Harry and Meghan are silent. That's not accidental. It was planned. It's very likely their legal team is negotiating with the royal family to manage the crisis." If that is true, then Harry's silence was no longer an emotional reaction. It was a calculated step, or perhaps even capitulation. We cannot rule out the possibility that Harry was the one betrayed from the start. If Meghan deliberately concealed the child's true biological father, and if in the U.S., Harry had no access to medical records, then this shock was nothing short of a dagger in the back, not just by his wife, but by the very system of trust he built to shield his family from the British royal family's influence. Now global public attention is turning toward Harry. From The Guardian to the New York Post, leading writers are asking plainly if he already knew why stay silent. If he didn't know, on what grounds can he defend the succession rights of children whose paternity is in question? A more critical wave of opinion labels Harry a prince blinded by love, someone who risked even his bloodline's honor to preserve a marriage that now may have become an elaborate trap. But others sympathize. Harry grew up feeling like the spare, the overlooked one, the one who wasn't truly chosen within his own family. Meghan, in the early days, was the first person to make him feel seen. She made him feel like the center of a family, something no one else ever did. If that's true, then Harry's silence is more than just pain, it's a complete collapse of faith. A man who once had the courage to defy an institution now can't even confront the one who led him to that institution. A final question remains unanswered, hanging like a ghost over the twilight of Britain. Will Harry dare to speak the truth? If he does, will he lose his image as a devoted father? And if he stays silent, will he remain trapped in torment, knowing that he is not the only one betrayed? Part 5. The royal family's PR reaction and image preservation strategy. In any system of power, crisis is an inevitable part of the equation. But for the British royal family, grounded in solemnity, tradition, and order, a bloodline scandal strikes not only internally, but directly at the legitimacy of the monarchy itself. That is why the royal family's response after King Charles collapsed went far beyond urgent medical attention. It became a multi-step, meticulously planned crisis management strategy. There were no official statements. Buckingham Palace's website did not post a single update. The public schedules of senior royals were abruptly canceled without explanation. William and Kate, central figures in this story, withdrew from all planned appearances in Scotland, where they were expected to attend traditional events. Even more telling, Buckingham Palace temporarily closed to the press and instructed media outlets to rely only on verified sources. A former communications advisor who served the royal family under Queen Elizabeth II described this as a media freeze tactic, a form of crisis control designed to prevent media chaos. Silence in the midst of confusion isn't passive, he explained. It's a way for the royal family to gain time, assess public reactions, and crucially cool down the scandal before taking any formal steps. Yet this silence did not suppress the rumors. It fueled them, especially in the international media. In the U.S., where Harry and Meghan hold significant influence, outlets began openly questioning whether the royal family was deliberately hiding the truth to avoid legal consequences. If one of the children lacks Harry's bloodline, this not only wounds the family's honor, but raises serious questions about royal succession inheritance, legitimacy, and even the use of the titles Duke/Duchess of Sussex, positions carrying both privilege and responsibility. Under the 2013 Act of Succession, bloodline is a prerequisite. Without it, all rights vanish and the title becomes an empty shell. The press paid special attention to Prince William's peculiar silence. As the man who delivered the DNA results to the meeting, William naturally had all the facts and was aware of the king's condition. But since that moment, he has not appeared publicly, no comments, no appearances. A Sky News royal correspondent revealed that advisors are keeping William strictly off media platforms to prevent any statements that might breach internal communications protocols. Meanwhile, analysts are asking, what is the palace planning next? One widely discussed theory suggests that the palace is quietly preparing a strategically crafted statement to be released in the coming weeks. That statement would avoid the word DNA entirely, neither confirming nor denying anything, specifically focusing instead on family values, unity, and a call to respect the privacy of royal members. That's the formula from Queen Elizabeth's era, said a former palace communications staffer. Don't confront the crisis head on. Dissolve it by emphasizing togetherness, tradition, and a shared future. But this time, the public may not be so easily placated. Indeed, there is supporting evidence. A YouGov poll conducted after the incident showed that over 63% of Britons believe the royal family should publicly clarify the children's lineage to avoid misunderstandings that could divide the nation. Notably, 71% among those aged 18 to 35 feel silence is a sign of concealment. The royal family has successfully used silence before after Princess Diana's death, Prince Andrew's scandal, and controversies involving Camilla. But in today's 24/7 news world, silence is no longer a shield. It becomes kindling for suspicion. So how long will the royal family maintain this silence? A British political analyst warned if they do not take clear action soon, this could escalate far beyond a personal scandal. It might spark renewed calls for reform, cutting the monarchy's funding, or even fuels movements to abolish the monarchy in places like Scotland and Australia, where the symbolic role of the British royal family has already weakened. In the shadows of Windsor Castle, it seems a storm is about to break. And the question every royal strategist grapples with is, can the monarchy preserve its dignity without confronting the truth? When truth is buried beneath silence, suspicion will speak for itself. This DNA crisis is no longer just a private matter within one family. It has become a resounding alarm bell for the honor of the entire British monarchy. The king remains unconscious. Harry stays silent. Meghan has retreated, and the public is still waiting. What do you think is being hidden? Will the truth ever come to light? Share your thoughts, voice your perspective, and don't forget to stay tuned for the next chapter when secrets can no longer be kept in the dark.